Hello, and thank you for choosing OgStar Reading. Let's start your amazing OgStar journey with an overview of our admin portal. When you purchase OgStar, you will receive an email with a button to create an account. So tap on that button here, and that will lead you to our registry page on OgStar Reading. There you will need to put in your name, username, and password. Note that the username is all one word and the password has some minimum requirements, so please follow these. After that, you will be in your district. All users, including households, have a district name, and so you have access to seeing everything within your district. As an admin for your district, you can edit the district, you can add a section, a user, or a student. Sections are like classrooms, and they are not necessary for households, but they are helpful for schools and districts who want to put students into classes or divide them in some way. Users are teachers and admins. Admins have the ability to edit districts, add sections, and add other users and students. District teachers are users who only have the ability to see their students and go through the data there and use the resources at the bottom left-hand side. So if you have gotten to this page, you will want to add your student. You will choose your district from the drop-down list there, and then you will fill in a username, also one word, the full name, and you can skip the sections drop-down if you are a household. You will need to create a password for each student unless they are on Clever. So if you're a district with students accessing OgStar through an LMS or through Clever, you will not be accessing this part of the data portal. Your students will be ported over from Clever and you will be able to use the other components of it. But if you are entering your students yourself, you will put their name, section, as we said before, or not, and then you will clear this password and then just choose the dots you want them to use for their passcode. It could look like that. You could do this. Either way, you can pick a simple passcode for them to use, and you will be clicking on each dot that you want them to touch, but they will be sliding their finger from the first to the last dot that you put in their configuration. So keep it simple so they can remember it, and that is how they will be getting into OgStar if they're not using Clever or some other LMS. Once you have your students there, if you are a district, you can be adding sections with the Add Section button. So you'll give it a name and you will choose students from the student dropdown and you will choose teachers here. You can have as many teachers as you want in each district as well. And that will allow you to see the students district section by section and teachers to be limited to their own sections. Additionally, once you have done all of this, you will really be ready to go with your students. So you can use this Go to Student app button, and that will take students onto the program depending where their starting point is, and we will talk about that, but they will be ready to go with the program. If you have not selected a starting point for your student, then they will automatically start on lesson 1. However, you do have the option in looking at your student list to choose your student and use this purple button at the top with the 3 dots to either set an assigned lesson for that student to begin at or to require the placement test. Whichever you choose, they will start with right away. And if you choose the placement test, put them at one of 3 starting gates. If you choose an assigned lesson, you click on Set Assigned Lesson, and you choose the lesson from the Scope and Sequence drop-down menu here, and that is where the student will start. So if I choose Lesson 41, that means that my student will have access to 41 and not be able to go ahead to higher lessons until they've completed most of it. They will be able to go backwards to practice skills from previous lessons. Okay. If you are already having your students on the program, you can use this information under each student, and also it is available under your user tab as well to see all of your students' work for the week, how much time they spent on OgStar. You can use this calendar drop down here to choose a different week, so you can go back in time and see what they did a different week, and it will tell you how many minutes they were on the program each day, whether it was a first attempt or a repeat lesson that they were working on that day. In addition, you have below this scope and sequence for the entire program, all 106 lessons. So you can scroll through that and you can see where your students have been working. Wherever there is a star or a triangle, that means that the students have done work on that lesson step. There are over 700 modules in the program. The stars indicate complete work and the triangles indicate that that step on the program is in progress. If you want more data about what kinds of answers your students have given and where they are struggling, then you can click on any of the stars or triangles. So if I look at the star or triangle under the read step on lesson 29, I click on that, I can see the isolated words my student read in that step, and they all have a word phoneme accuracy score. So you can see they range from here 70s, 80s, and above, but sometimes they have a very low score, and so you'll want to pay particular attention to those lower scores, like 60% or below. And then when you hover over a particular word, you can then see the individual phoneme scores for each of the phonemes in that word. And so this gives you an idea of really where your students are doing well and where they are struggling. You can look at patterns and use this to help remediate your students. You can also see information about the time they've spent on the application and on this lesson step, how many hints they needed, and whether they skipped a part of it, and again, how many errors they have is here in this box at the top. If you go back to the student detail and then instead of clicking under the read step, go to the write step and you click on the star there, you can see a spelling score for their first attempt at every word in isolation. And you can also see a spelling score for their sentence writing. So this is really informative if you are trying to see where students are having difficulty writing different letters and spelling different words. This information can be used and shared with parents, or you can keep track of this for an IEP and so forth. So that is the kind of granular data that we're offering now. More is coming on a very regular basis. So keep looking at these icons here and seeing what we've added. Additionally, if you want to look to the left at the bottom, we have a resources page down here, and here are many printables for your use. Most of them are directed at student use, and some of them are just for teachers. So the user documentation is there to help you set up students and help you with the portal. So please use that as a first resource for any questions that you may have. Other printables include certificates for students that they can receive every 10 lessons that they complete on OgStar. There are partner reading passages that have highlighted lines so that students can do shared reading, and these match up with each of the lessons in the program. So for instance, this one is for lesson 102, and so they're to be printed and used after the student has completed the lesson that it is designated for. In addition, we have a flag game, which is a matching word game that can be printed out for use at a station or at student desks. We have information about using manipulatives off of OgStar and other sets of reading as well for your students. So I hope this has been an informative overview of our new version 2 admin portal. And please reach out to us, www.ogstarreading.com. We'd love to hear from you.